Tonight, we're discussing an important issue, especially on hotter days as families get out and enjoy the water. Drowning is the #1 cause of death for children 1 to 4 years old. Tonight, I talked with Dr. Beth Ebel with UW Medicine about the importance of learning to swim at a young age. Well, Dr. Ebel, thanks so much for being with us here on ARC Seattle tonight. So we're talking about water safety, why it's important for kids to know how to swim, and especially here in this beautiful state, we have so many different waterways, so many places people can swim. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get in trouble pretty fast.
Absolutely. The same thing happened to my son recently. He was kayaking and he was with a colleague, super important, had his life jacket on and knows how to swim. And still, the waves tipped over his kayak. He ended up out in the water, very, very cold water, and had to be rescued by a boat. And, thank you to those people in the boat. But having a life jacket on, knowing how to swim, and being with a buddy, critical for him. I'm so grateful that that worked for him. And I want to tell every other person the same thing I say as a pediatrician. Teach your kid how to swim, wear your life jacket, and, go out with a buddy.
So important. We see so many people so much of the time go out there and then, like you said, tip over in some kind of small watercraft, and that water is so cold.
Yep.
They can freeze within just a few seconds. Their body freaks out, and if you don't know how to swim, then you're in even more trouble. But yeah, if you don't have someone with you, that can be really scary. But for kids who are, 1 to 4 years old and very, very young, and potentially the parent turns away for just a second, or the child falls in the water, that can be life-threatening, very fast. And getting those kids in the water, learning how to swim in a pool, supervised in an early age, can be really life-saving depending on the situation.
Yes, we recommend that all kids learn to swim. That basically gives you your birthright here in the Northwest. Kids should know how to follow directions when they start swimming lessons. So like 1 is a little bit early. But for toddlers, that makes sense, right? When they can follow directions, they should take swim lessons, and so should their parents. That means when you fall in the water or you get in the water, you know what to do. You don't panic, and you can take care of yourself. That has been shown to reduce the risk of drowning.
And that makes so much sense. So much of the time we see people giving their kids swim lessons and saying, oh my gosh, they're such good swimmers. They're so great. And then they go, wait a second, but I can't swim myself that great. And I would probably panic if my child were to fall in the water. Not me personally, but I know some other people would probably feel like that. So yeah, great advice. Good idea for both the parents and the child to get those swim lessons so they can both, and the parent have the ability to save the child if need be and not panic.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Where would you suggest people start? I mean, just like a local place, like a pool, like lifeguards. I mean, is it the best thing? And what age would you suggest for children to get in the pool?
So when kids can follow directions, the community centers have swim programs here. So that's a great place to start. And we want to make sure everyone knows how to swim. And I love your point that sometimes parents don't know how to swim themselves, right? So learn, right? This is your birthright here. The water is beautiful around us. This is your world to enjoy. So also learn to swim. For us, we want people to live in this beautiful world of Western Washington and Eastern Washington too, but also to prevent risk. And that means swim lessons. It means life jackets when you're on any watercraft. I'm a good swimmer. I wear my life jacket, right? Because I am showing that I know how to take those essential safety pieces, those safety steps for myself. And that carries over to my family. And then also when you're on a boat, this is not the time to be drinking. This is not the time to use other substances. This is the time to be attentive, just like you are in your car, to make sure people get out on the water and back safely, and then you get home to your house.
Yeah, great advice, especially with it being warm here right now this last weekend. But even when it's not, people are still trying to get in local waterways and swim, and with little kids. And I see a lot of the time not getting on the water with some kind of safety vest on or something. Say, oh yeah, it couldn't possibly happen to me. But I'm sure as a pediatrician, you probably uh, have people all the time coming in saying they had something that had to do with water that probably wasn't very good.
Yeah, for us, swimming is a life skill. So give that gift to your child, but also it prevents risk on the water.
Dr. Ebel, thanks so much for the information tonight. I know a lot of people will find this very, very helpful and probably thinking, oh gosh, that's that one thing I need to do and I haven't done it yet, but I did it for my kids. But hey, thanks so much for being with us
Yeah,
here on
I
Arc
hope
Seattle tonight.
so.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And it helped my child. I hope it helps yours too.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doctor.
Thank you.